Okay, great. Thank you, guys. I think maybe we need to go to next. Okay. Let me just start by saying, the reason why I'm participating in the webinar today and um, why, I have enjoyed working with the QuickLaunch team is because they've been a true partner for our college. So, since the beginning, when we first signed the contract and started working on implementation, up until today, nothing changed. We've had that experience with vendors in the past where maybe you buy a product and everything's great, and you get up to implementation and you get it running, and then maybe support falls off and it's not as good. Or we've all been through different experiences with different providers. So I'm happy to say that QuickLaunch has been responsive throughout, from the time we implemented 2.5 years ago, I believe, till today. Anytime that we have a question or a problem, they get back to us pretty much immediately. Their service is great, and so that's why I'm here today, because I truly believe in their company and this platform and everything that they do. So they've been great to work with, and we truly appreciate that. So I guess I'll start with what we were doing before QuickLaunch and why we chose this product. We were like many institutions, providing a lot of different systems for students, faculty, and staff, and all those systems had different usernames and passwords, right? Um, it was difficult to manage, to say the least. It was a lot of calls to our service desk and a lot of training of service desk personnel, because we utilize students for that task. And if they're not familiar with whatever system somebody's calling in about, maybe they need to stop and go find out about, how do I get to the password reset for that? Maybe they don't have permission. So there's a lot of steps and a lot of things that go into it. I'm going to pull this slide up here. Just a second. Great. So hopefully everybody can see my screen. So, given that scenario, basically, we wanted to have a way, and we'd seen other institutions that implemented single sign-on, but we wanted that. We wanted it to all be the same username and password. We wanted it to be based on our password policy and not, the disparate systems, and some passwords are 8 characters and some are 12 and some require a character and some don't. And so pulling this all in, working with QuickLaunch, you can see that, a few of the applications are listed here. We'll take a look at those here in a minute, but, we're using lynda.com for professional development, SchoolDude for people to put in maintenance requests with our facilities area, PaperCut for managing printing on campus, Office 365, and On the Hub, which is sort of a link to the Microsoft store that for free software and that sort of thing for students, which I'll show you as well. But again, maintaining all these passwords and access to applications. The other thing was, so to get their password reset, they had to come see us. We didn't have a great way. We didn't have an automated way for users to reset their password. So they really had to do it during times where the service desk was open, which presents a challenge because, oftentimes it's at night or 2 in the morning for students or whatever, where they realize, oh, I haven't logged in since my password expired, and I forgot what it was before, whatever. They need help. They need to be able to reset it themselves. And then again, like I was talking about with the students at the service desk, and even sometimes full-time staff at the service desk, if they don't know what the system is, they need to find out, how do I reset it? Do I have access? Those sort of things. So really to significantly reduce our cost of operating the service desk as well. Another nice thing about it has been that there's no server on our campus running this software. It is cloud-based, so um, we're a small liberal arts college, with a IT department to match. We're a small operation, so everybody wears a lot of hats, and so to get something that's cloud-based is certainly a benefit for us, where they can ensure that it's up 24/7, and we don't have to worry about that piece. So that's definitely a benefit. And then again, providing the students, faculty, and staff with a self-service interface where they can go in, they can manage their access themselves, reset their password, change security questions, all that. And they truly do have round-the-clock support. They often let us know before we know if there's any sort of problem with our Active Directory server or that sort of thing. So that's a nice thing to have as well. So here's just a screenshot of our login screen. Again, we'll show you that here shortly. But QuickLaunch has really provided that solution for us, give it a nice user interface, make it easy for our faculty, staff, students to find the applications they need quickly and move on and get the tasks done that they set out there to accomplish. In addition, I've talked about that. How do we provide a way for students and everyone to reset their password when we're not in the office? So we implemented their password manager product as well, and that's been great. We see the amount of success. I was just looking over the last week, and we had 12 users yesterday who used it. That's 12 less calls to the service desk or people that walked upstairs, so they can, that means our staff can focus on more important things. And I know that depending on your size, that's not a big number, but for us, we're about 1,000 students, so that's a significant amount. And then multi-factor authentication as well, which we're looking very closely at. And right now they can reset with their personal email address, and we also want to implement multi-factor authentication right there at the user login. So here's just a screenshot of applications that students will get when they log into the portal. And with this, I think I'll just show you the live site. I'll just start by logging in as myself, so you can see what it looks like for faculty, staff. That is one thing that was another nice benefit, so you can utilize Active Directory groups or any groups, within whatever your identity platform is, to separate which applications show for which users. So, for example, we have a group for students, and so there's certain applications that only students would need, and that's all they get. Same way for faculty and staff. So I'll show you the difference in that as well. So this has grown significantly over time. I think, when we first implemented a couple years ago, we had maybe, the first 2.5 rows or something, and it's just grown quickly. And you might think, okay, it's getting a little cluttered, but one thing that stood out to me that was really nice is, let's say they're wanting to print, type in print at the top, you get the things that are associated with that. If you're a student, maybe what you want to do is go watch HBO Go. Type in HBO, so you can see how quickly that comes up. Another thing that's it's really important in this day and age is that it's mobile responsive. So you can see, if I shrink the size of the browser, or if you pull this up on your phone or any other mobile device, that it adjusts, it looks good, which is critical for students. So just some examples of some of the things we've integrated. This admission.ic.edu, that is a system called Slate. So many of you may use a platform like that for your admission office. They've integrated that with single sign-on, so it makes it easy for them to start their day here in the SSO platform and just click on that button to get in. Creative Cloud, that we have a campus agreement with that, and they are one that that doesn't provide the direct link in, but you can see if I just go in here and put in my email address, and it does go ahead and redirect and then sign me in as well. And that's just a function of them not having IDP initiated single sign-on. So we can't initiate from our side yet, but that is on Adobe side. But you can see it's as simple as that, and then I'm in to my Adobe. This is our early alert system. It's within our internal portal. So we use a product called JICS from Genzabar. So this is within JICS. So before, this was a process of, you go to JICS, you sign in with your separate login that is not the same as your AD login, and then you find the retention area in the drop down, and then you click on submit early alerts. You're talking about 5 or 6 steps from a faculty member to go in on top of trying to manage their class and trying to do everything that they need to do for their job. So now we've integrated JICS. You don't need to know that separate login anymore. You just log into single sign-on with your AD credentials. You click on early alerts. It's right here. You quickly put in the information. The student didn't come to class this week or for the last 2 days, or their grade is this, or whatever it is, and submit it and move on. So since putting this out here in the single sign-on portal, we've seen the number of early alerts submitted go beyond doubling. So over twice as many, in the last 2 semesters since implementing this in single sign-on. So, you want to impact retention, you want to move things for your college forward, and retention and is critical for everybody on the call, I'm sure. So that's the sort of impact you can have implementing a system that's doing a lot of other things as well. We also put some links to things that people are always, what's the athletics website address, I can't remember, or whatever, so things that they just might be looking for can be out there. This is an internal thing for, again, within JICS. Where do I find that thing where I can, send an ad away and tell them what a great job they've been doing? Well, okay, now just click on the button. Career link, this is for students looking for internships, looking for jobs after college. We want that to be one click away for sure. Change your password. This is tied in with the password manager product. So I can click on that button and just go right into, you do have to put your password in correctly again. I'll show you that on the student side since I can't type today, but anyway, we want them to be able to change their password, change the security questions at any time. You can also do that from the drop down up here under the My Account section, but we wanted to give them another button so that they wouldn't miss this being up here. EMS, so we use this for room scheduling, booking rooms on campus. Again, this was an Active Directory login before, but it was a separate login. You had to log in again, and it was, again, matter of confusion. Do I put @ic.edu at the end? Do I not put it? Is it just the first part of it? That sort of thing, so that's been eliminated now. Click the button, go in, find the room you need, reserve it, right? We will be implementing Gmail. We want to get that second two-step authentication in place first because we have that already set up with Google. So right now that one's just a link, but that can easily be integrated as well. IC Alert, we use this for students, faculty, and staff signing up for emergency alerts and those sort of things. Again, make it one button, make it not a separate login, and we've seen that usage go up, and that's important as well. You need to make sure everybody's safe and they're getting those important notifications. Some fun things as well, HBO and Cinemax, that's tied into our campus televideo system. And again, so, I want to go watch HBO. All I have to do is click in here and click on the button, and you're in. So for students, that's great, right? Maybe not for our wireless, but we've grown that and made wireless good enough to handle it. Papercut, you know, we want them to be able to go into Papercut and easily release jobs and use copy machines on campus and find, you know, jobs pending release and all that sort of thing. And again, you know, eliminating that extra step. For School Dude, you know, to be able to put in a work order, hey, you know, there's a problem in my room or there's a problem in the bathroom or whatever. They never knew their login to that. And then for our student financial services area, we just implemented this web forms product from Campus Logic and tied it in. And, you know, so everything that we're doing now, we're finding, you know, hey, do they have single sign-on? Yes, they do. Let's tie it in. You know, we implement it in the QuickLaunch platform, and we're off and running. So it's been great. Zoom was another one that was just recently added. And Zoom has been great as well. And to tell people, okay, you can go into single sign-on, you can click on Zoom, and you can be provisioned with a free account right away. If you feel like you need more than that, let us know. You know, we can look at getting you a pro license. But that was a cool thing with them, right? Click on it, you get a free account. You can do up to a 40-minute web conference for free with an official IC email address. So all these things are important. And then Name Coach has been critical for our Name Coach is down right now. Critical for our campus as far as giving people the ability to go in and record their names, and then giving everybody a campus directory where they can go in and listen to everybody's names, because we want to make sure that they're getting it right? So whether it's a student looking up their professor to make sure that they say their name right the first time, or you know, probably even more importantly, professors going in and looking at all their students and learning their names and making sure that they're getting them right. It was just a really important initiative for our campus. So I also want to show you the difference. So this is, again, a faculty and staff view of the single sign-on portal. If I go out and I go back into this as a student, just a second. Now you can see in the student's view, there's a few things that are different. So the students, they have this alcohol EDU course that they need to complete through a product called EverFi. Students have the IC payment portal. We do need them to pay their bills. We have a link here for international student wire payments. Meal plan balance, that was, you know, something where, you know, we meet with Student Senate here on campus and you know, ask them, hey, what would you like to see out here? Give us any ideas that you come up with. And this came from them as far as, you know, we need a place where we can go in and in the single sign-on portal and click a button and see what our meal plan balance is. And so, you know, we basically integrated our, pulled that data out of our meal plan system, out of our, it's called Seaboard, but pulled that out on a daily basis, and we gave it a view into JICS, and now they can click a button and see, you know, what their meal plan is. Something that, you know, was not that difficult and provides a huge benefit. You know, that's a heavy hitter as far as, you know, buttons students are clicking on. Moodle, so our learning management system is right here. Again, this was tied to JICS login before, not Active Directory. So, you know, what's my Moodle login? Well, no more. Just click on it and go in and do your work, right? Other things for students, tutor track, where they can go in and schedule an appointment with the tutor in our academic excellence department. Click on their time card button. So that, again, is within JICS and was, you know, several clicks to find it before. Now they can go right in and submit their time cards as well. And then they also see things that they don't, you know, so for, you saw in my portal, I could go to the admissions side, I could go to Adobe, those things are only there for faculty or for staff members, right? And for Adobe, we only have licenses for faculty and staff. So those things don't show up on students. So you don't have anybody clicking on buttons for systems that they can't access or don't need to access. So that was really important. And then if we click on the change your password here, I want to show you this piece of the product. So it's really nice that they can go in here anytime. They can change their password, and it'll show them, when's the last time they changed it. Of course, if this was falling under our password policy and not just a test account, it would have been less than 6 months ago. But in any case, and then as they go to set their new password, you can have your specific password requirements right here. It just pops up and tells them so that they get it exactly right. And then, with their account recovery settings, you can go in here and set their questions and make sure that they know how to recover their account if they do forget their password. So with that, I think, I've covered pretty much the basics of what we're doing with our product. Again, we look forward to implementing single sign-on and potentially account provisioning for new students as well in the future. For us, it's just a matter of finding time and everybody's schedules to work through that stuff and be able to carve out some time to work with the QuickLaunch team to get it implemented. But I'll go ahead and turn it back over to the QuickLaunch team for the rest of the presentation.
Thank you very much, Patrick. That was a great presentation. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Steve Brown. I'm the Customer Engagement Manager with QuickLaunch. Welcome all of you on the webinar today. So, what I'm going to talk about is basically, first of all, that was a great presentation once again to Patrick. Thank you for that. What you saw, what Mr. Brown showcased today is single sign-on, the true single sign-on federated unified login experience, which certainly enriches the user experience when it comes to accessing their backend systems with single username and password, making it more secured, complementing it further with multi-factor authentication at the time of resetting passwords. Or, of course, it also has AI-based multi-factor authentication, which makes it more secured on threats that are coming in from different countries or states or anywhere. We have all that under control with QuickLaunch AI-based multi-factor authentication. We sometimes called adaptive authentication as well. So, folks, what I want to talk about is the challenges in higher education. So again, working with 300 plus higher education institutions dedicatedly, what we have discovered, over the last few years, that the major challenges that are being faced by the institutions, one of the which is right up on the screen, that is user onboarding. That is basically the first step. What we saw, single sign-on, that's basically a later step. But at the time of onboarding a student or onboarding a user, it's kind of a nightmare for institutions, because most of the institutions we talked to, we figured out that they're either running manual scripts to create accounts, and of course, they're providing default passwords to set up the initial passwords, which again leads to disasters because there are a lot of accounts takeover attacks, accounts gets compromised, the security is being challenged. So yeah, so considering all those factors, QuickLaunch wanted to come up with the user provisioning and deprovisioning, kind of pretty much automating everything, starting from user onboarding to offboarding, and a lot of other things follows, like a password reset or a multi-factor authentication or AI-based multi-factor authentication, what I just talked about. Another challenge is multiple usernames and passwords, which Mr. Brown showcased, and multiple login screens, for the backend application. So these are the major challenges that we figured out in the past few years. And what we have been doing is partnering with institutions and letting them overcome these challenges by leveraging QuickLaunch platform. So let's have a quick look on the QuickLaunch platforms. What are the products that are there at QuickLaunch? Okay, so here are the products right on the screen. So starting from automated provisioning, that is the first step. Then it comes to creating your own password that's using a multi-factor authentication, setting up your initial password, which again makes it more secured with a multi-factor complementing on that. And of course, we have identity provider and single sign-on, pretty much providing a centralized login screen to access the backend system. So the user experience, by the time user is onboarded and have got the password created by himself or herself, they can pretty much use a centralized login screen, log in and access all of their backend system, and their accounts will be automatically created leveraging QuickLaunch platform. And we will have a detailed demonstration on how it works really, so we can definitely talk about that later. And of course, we have a few more products like Password Manager that basically uses multi-factor authentication. By the way, there are multiple factors that are being supported at QuickLaunch. We will have a quick look on what factors are being supported and what factors are on the roadmap as well during this session. Adaptive access control we talked about. Shield, of course, we're going to cover that as well. And Smart Assistant is a new product that has been, QuickLaunch is bringing up on the table. So yeah, that's basically the platforms. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the control. And these are some clients that you can see, which is the partial list of QuickLaunch higher ed customers, right? Okay, and so this is just a partial list I wanted to, showcase here. And what we would like to do now is pass on the control over to NK to showcase the demonstration on user lifecycle management. NK is a CEO at QuickLaunch. So NK, can you hear us?
I can, absolutely, Steve. If I can get presenters control, that would be great.
Absolutely, NK. So we can just give you the present control now. Good,
Steve, can you acknowledge you see my screen? We'll then get started.
We don't see it yet. Yes, now we can see it, NK.
Okay, wonderful, folks. Good afternoon. This is NK. So let's take a step back, folks. Mr. Patrick did a great job in explaining that at Illinois College, they wanted to basically come up with a solution which gets them off multiple username and password, which is great because students would not have to remember multiple username and password, which boils down to obviously reduction towards the spent on help desk. But one of the unknowns which we had 2 years back was, how can QuickLaunch also provide provisioning, deprovisioning, governance? How can we make sure that the accounts are being created starting from your student information system to Active Directory to learning management system and whole 9 yards? How can we make sure like right folks have right access at right time? So this is a step above what Mr. Brown talked about, and I'm going to do a quick showcase. So imagine, folks, this is your student information system. This is going to look familiar. Here comes Active Directory. You all deal with Active Directories. And here comes single sign-on. So let's imagine this as Illinois College portal. So while Steve was talking, I was creating an account for Illinois College, which is Illinois user, and I've specified that this user is a student, not a staff, and this user is active. So with one click, I've basically, let me just pause my screen. I'm looking at creating that account real quick. So I'm just going to do that once again. Looks like unique identifier was missing. So I'm just going to do that once again. And I've obviously given a personal email address and phone number also here. And I'm saying this account is active. and it cannot be student and staff, so I'm just going to make this student and hit go. So what would happen is in your institutional context, depending upon if I'm a prospect or if I'm admitted, one fine day once the fee is paid, you're going to basically onboard me as a student, and my account would be created. Some of you might be using some sophisticated tools for provisioning, deprovisioning, but some of you, I'm sure, are doing custom scripts, which is doing the job of creating accounts from your student information system to Active Directory and to learning management system and to email systems as well. So with one click, when I created this account, let's look at the power of this tool. I'm going to come back to Active Directory, and ideally this account should already be here. Here comes Illinois user, account is already there. It did an okay job of giving me first name, last name, I got a full name, there's no space, totally customizable. Most importantly, I also got email assigned to my account. And folks, most importantly, the biggest mistakes that we're doing in the realm of information technology is we give students default password, resulting in giving them keys to the kingdom, letting people know what the default password methods are. But most importantly, from a user experience standpoint, you're also asking them during back to school, during registration, change password when you log in for the first time. How can we improvise that? So in this example, you see me that I'm Illinois user. I never got a default password. And by the way, welcome letter was indeed sent to me on my personal email, which is right here. So let's look at what happens. How is this user going to be onboarded? So this user would get a welcome letter. Instead of getting default password, there would be no password. And the Illinois College is going to send a mail to this user saying, hey, Illinois user, welcome to Illinois College. Use first-time user to get going. And as soon as I submit, what you see me doing is much better when it comes to user experience and security, because now I'm being told that we know you from two methods. We have your personal email, we have your SMS, pick one to continue. I'm going to click on SMS. It would immediately recognize my phone number. And as soon as I click on SMS, one-time token should come on my cell phone shortly. Here comes one-time token. And what I'm going to do now is log in. And what you would now see is I'm being, for the first time in the history of Illinois College, I'm being now given the opportunity to set up a password for myself, which is great. So there is no such default password. And finally, I'm being told, and this is from where Mr. Brown did the demonstration today, is I'm finally logging in for the first time as part of Illinois College portal. And as soon as I log in, I'm going to be now seeing that wall of icon, which Mr. Brown was showcasing. Let me quickly log in once again. So depending upon who I am, exactly the way Mr. Brown showcased, I get to see lots and lots of applications. So not just single sign-on and identity, letting you onboard yourself automatically, providing better security, and behind the scenes, the governance and the provisioning of what all applications you should have access to is driven entirely by QuickLaunch. What I'm going to do next real quick is log out. Go back to that small utility I had here for Illinois College. Click on Edit. And now you would understand what we were trying to communicate. Some of you are using banner systems and PeopleSoft. I'm just making one change. I'm saying this user is no longer a student, but a staff, which means behind the scenes, the entire provisioning should automatically be updated. So I just made one change. I'm going back to Illinois College as the same user. Watch what happens. Firstly, system wakes up and says, hey, I don't trust you. So what you're also seeing is the power of one of the products called as adaptive authentication. So you don't have to implement that separately to your other platforms, but what is happening is system wakes up and feels, hey, this looks to be a threat on the account. Let's figure out why. So I'm using SMS as one of the factors. And here is the reason why this is a threat, because this device from where I'm logging in so far has not been added as a trusted device. Simple. So because of it, it's prompting me to log in. The advantage, folks, that you get with this is out of the box, your learning management, student information system, email, everything is suspicious protected. If there is any suspicion, system will wake up and it would prompt you to use two factors instead of just using standard password as one of the factors. And what you see me now having on the screen is I'm no longer student, I'm staff.
Hi, NK. I can't hear you. This is Steve. Let me check with Patrick. Patrick, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I couldn't
I
hear
think we
NK
lost
either there.
NK. Yeah. Well, I think we lost NK. I just we'll just wait for like 30 seconds so that he can dial back in. So, folks, apologize for the inconvenience during this demo. I think we lost connection. I think he should be dialing back in about like a few seconds.
Steve, can you hear me? This is NK, I'm back.
Wonderful, NK. Yeah. So, yes, we lost you for a second. That's great. Now we can just move forward.
Okay, so folks, apologize for that. So what I was talking about is not just adaptive authentication. You would continue to have one forgot password, and the beauty of that is it uses exactly same method for password recovery as you saw me doing for adaptive authentication. So let's look at users, right? We're talking about students. And if you end up putting two different products, one is doing password reset, one is doing adaptive authentication like a duo security, it's confusing. And we're here to provide better student experience. And with this tool, it's just one platform and there's just one method to do both password reset, as well as in case of any suspicion on the account activity, system would wake up and prompts you to go through more additional factors if needed. So that's a quick demonstration in regards with both adaptive authentication and password reset. As you saw me doing, folks, currently we're supporting quite a few factors, starting from security questions and answers. We do have email as one of the factors, and we do obviously support SMS. One of the new additions in our multi-factor family, which we're coming up with in the next couple of weeks, is YubiKey, because some of the institutions have started asking us that, hey, we do have staff, they need much better security, and we would like to use YubiKeys or RSAs or hard tokens. We're even coming up with the support of that. But most importantly, folks, Steve did an announcement today which is Smart Assistant. So one of the technologies that we've already implemented, it's coming out in exactly 30 days from now, is we're calling it Smart Assistant. Now, what that means, let's discuss that. Right now, you saw me doing clicks. I'm clicking, and it's eventually I'm proving who I am, and then I'm being given the opportunity to reset. Much better compared to picking up the phone and calling help desk. But we know, like 2019-20, everything is going to be driven using voice. We know that. My kids do that all day long. They wake up Google, they wake up Siri, and they're talking to them all day long. So the use case which we have already solved, and again, whosoever is interested will take a note of that. What we have implemented is you don't have to go through a Google Authenticator app. Why do you need one more app? You don't need the Illinois College branded app. Let's wake up Siri and tell Siri, connect me to Illinois College Help Desk. That's significant because even if my phone is logged, I can connect. I'm driving, I want to change my password. So as soon as you do that, what happens is Illinois College using machine learning is connected. And I'm going to say, cool, I'm not able to log into Illinois portal. I can ask that question 200 different ways. We have that answers, questions already sorted for you. But the trick is, as soon as you would say, cool, I'm NK, I've taken your ID, I have your device, I know who you are. This is a great match of Mr. Brown and his device, which is registered into my system. Then I'm going to dispatch a one-time token, which you just need to read. And with the fraction of a second, system is going to say, cool, just give us a new password. You'll speak up the password. You'll confirm the password. You're done. It's going to go into your Active Directory. So that's a significant move. Not just that, how can we train the bot to answer questions about what courses do you teach at Illinois College? Because that's a great prospect value add. How is the weather in Illinois, by the way, today? How can we ask those questions and use a smart assistant for us, by us, instead of just picking up the phone, spending like a $27 cost per password reset. So that's one of the new additions, folks, in the family of multi-factor. What you see me showing is the administrative interface for QuickLaunch. Again, focuses a lot of analytics. Why? Because we believe we are doing it totally for higher education, and the mission is student retention. We cannot afford dropouts. If I have basically my view into what students are doing, access to what all applications, I can also predict what students are not connected and disengaged, thus could drop out and require counseling. So a lot of that, including security pieces, which I keep talking about, you see a lot of dots from Montana. All of them are failed user attempts, which means it could be like a DDoS coming to you. How can we drag and drop using QuickLaunch Shield and blacklist a state, city, country so that we don't have to go through any of that? We've gone through series of attacks across quite a few institutions recently. We came up with a product called as Shield. We are continue to now make it smarter so that you could simply, with the drag and drop, whitelist, blacklist regions and IPs and geolocations and whole 9 yards. So folks, again, our mission is to give you all an intuitive interface, which is self-configurable. Those who have joined today will be happy to conduct a proof of concept for you. We don't believe in sending you a statement of work and then having the product is not going to work for you. That's not our belief. We truly believe in a stronger partnership, and we'll partner with you. We'll basically come up with this platform which works for you. Then only we'll have you look at executing the contract. And those are some methods which we've learned working with leaders like Patrick Brown and guiding us in regards with how should we go about onboarding new members into the family here at QuickLaunch. With that said, I'm going to pass it on back to Steve. Steve, if you can show last few slides, let's look at wrapping up and conduct a poll as well. And then we can open up the platform for questions and answers. Over to you, Steve.
Well, thanks, NK, for the great presentation on the user lifecycle management, folks. What we would like now, we would like to open up for questions. In case if there are any, please feel free to punch in your questions into the questions pane. Okay, we've got one question, in the pane right now, which we can just ask NK about. NK, we've got one question here from one of our audiences.
Sure.
So the question is about the analytics, or what kind of analytics and reporting that we will get with the user lifecycle management.
So that's a great question, folks, and that's where we have seen predominant struggle in higher education. So typically what happens is institutions identify, like after missing the bus, that, hey, some students still have access in the following systems and they should not. So again, like, who has access, what governance is around that. So all these reports would be available. So for example, when we implemented this tool for National Louis University, they wanted to see who is in Banner, who should be in Active Directory, and who should be created as a student in their B2L, Learning Management System, and who should be instructor. So the entire reporting and reconciliation between student information system to Active Directory to learning management system. So you'll have basically all those reports available. Not just that, if a student calls you, you would also be able to see their life at Illinois College, starting from when was the account successfully created, when was that account propagated to Active Directory, when did they set up their password, when did they start launching rest of the other applications. So pretty much entire reconciliation reports within the student information system, LMS system, all those would be available. In addition to that, what applications they're launching, what factors are they using, what devices are they logging in from, whole 9 yards would be available both at an individual level as well as at group level as well, so that if you want to see a pattern of what typically a mathematics class of 2019 is doing, you would be able to take it to that level and zoom in instead of just trying to find out something which has happened with a particular student. So all these reports would certainly be available, and obviously when we meet with you all on a one-on-one session, we'll be happy to share more details around the reporting which comes with QuickLaunch. Steve, any other questions?
Yes, NK, we've got another question on the, one of the institutions wants to know whether, what are other factors are supported with QuickLaunch when it comes to multi-factor authentication. So there is a question about the PushMe using a mobile app. So are we supporting that?
Folks, we can certainly support a mobile app, but where we are taking the product is, do we really now need a mobile app, or should we use Smart Assistant as I stated? But some of you already having your own mobile apps, if you feel a push should come on the cell phone instead of using an SMS, can we do that? Absolutely, yes. Not many institutions have asked for that because I think everyone is really happy with SMS and email. But in case if a push is needed, we can certainly look at doing that. But much impactful factors like YubiKey and RSA and for the admins and Smart Assistant, which is going to reduce a lot of spend, even on a mobile app for that matter, none of that is going to be needed. And Smart Assistant is where we are seeing the future of passive reset. Not just that, all the other Q&A pertaining to help desk at a campus. So that's basically the direction we are taking. But in case if you feel you'd want us to implement a mobile app specifically for you, branded for you, we can certainly look at doing that as well.
Thank you, NK, for that. There's one more question from an institution. They want to know that can each student add their own apps to log in with, or does the staff add what is available to the users?
Folks, great question. It's a pretty delicate topic to discuss, and we've seen like comments from both directions, which is if you give too much to students, they end up deleting too much, resulting in calling help desk. So the final conclusion that we have come up with, and I think we are working with Illinois College on that, Mr. Brown did raise that point. So what we're doing is we're making it configurable. Let's look at the use case. You all purchase your cell phones, you take, let's say, a new iPhone, you have certain things which are factory set. There are certain apps that I put. Can I remove the default ones? No. Can I remove the one that I've added? Yes. So that's exactly what we're doing. Wherein we're going to let you all decide what should be the default view of a student. What can they add to it? What can they modify to it? And not just that, you saw Mr. Brown's wall of icon page. It is getting busier day by day. Can we also segment it into different folders and sections? All that we're looking at now coming up in the next release. So yes, we'll have, we call it the end user personalization. All that is going to be available in next release with QuickLaunch. And in case if you would be interested in implementing that, we can certainly enable that feature. Control would be with you in regards with who can do what all. So each institution can self-define the governance around what users can do on their, let's call it my single sign-on portal.
Thank you very much.
Any other
There's
questions?
Sure. There's the last question from about the implementation timeframe. What sort of implementation timeframe are we looking at if we want to implement QuickLaunch? And if at all we want to go with the proof of concept, which is a $0 proof of concept, are there any obligations to or it's like no obligations?
Again, great question, folks. And one of the institutions I see their names dialed in on the call. They used to be Prospect. They've joined us. I think McAllister team is on the call. What we did with them differently was I was doing the demonstration myself, and the challenge was let's hop on a call for 3 hours. We'll look at knocking out some of your applications, and that's how fast we rolled. Pricing was definitely a no-brainer for them and for each one of you. But we believe in folding our sleeves, coming to the party, doing applications, integrations for you, with you, involving you that you're trained through the journey of this implementation. So the implementation time is going to be like, I confidently say less than like a week against your student information system, email and learning management system, against your applications, and that's on us. We will do a proof of concept. Prior to that, we'll also share the pricing with you. That way, if the number makes sense, if the product works really well against your applications, I don't think so there's any reason why would you not want to roll with QuickLaunch. So again, those who are interested, do let us know. We would love to do a scoping session with you, look at coming up with a proof of concept for you. In the meantime, we'll certainly share the pricing of what these products are going to cost you at the end of the day. That way we can connect the dots and take things forward from there. I hope that answers your question.
All right, folks. Thank you very much. On that note, we'd like to end this session today. Thank you very much for everyone joining this session today. And a special thank to Mr. Patrick Brown, the CIO at Illinois College, for the great presentation. And of course, NK, the CEO of QuickLaunch, for showcasing the user lifecycle management demo. This is QuickLaunch signing off. Thank you very much once again. Have a wonderful day, everyone.